Hello, my name is Don and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're taking a look at Maven's new CRS.3 4-20 rifle scope, so stay tuned. Alright guys, don't mind all this contraption I got going on here. This is so that I can make sure that the footage that we're getting through the scope is good. This helps me make sure that everything's in focus. Basically what it is, it's just a monitor that I have hooked up to the trigger cam. A lot of times when you're looking through these scopes, through the trigger cam, the footage will look like it's focused, but it's actually not. So I use this just to make sure we got the best possible footage that we can get you. So yeah guys, this is the Maven CRS.3 4-20 rifle scope. It's kind of a hunting slash target scope. The CRS line is more of a hunting scope line, and it's a value priced line. So guys, what I'm going to do right now is verify my zero, and I want to get velocities on this rifle in this temperature so I can input it into the Charigun Elite app. Now the Charigun Elite app, it's very, very similar to the Strelok app. It's a little different, but it has all the same functions, and you can update this app. So all the new reticles that have come out between the time when they banned the Strelok app till now are going to be available in the Charigun Elite app. So guys, I'll try and leave a link in the description to that app. I don't know if they'll let me do it. If it's not going to be in the description, it'll be in a pinned comment. So let's get some velocities with this SK long range here at 50 yards, and let's get this scope going. All right, so we're just going to shoot, I don't know, 20, 25 rounds, make sure this is zeroed and get some velocities. So we're at 4 power right now. I'm going to crank it up to probably, let's see, let's put it up to 16 power. Let's check the parallax. Looks like the parallax is a little bit off. Now guys, the numbered parallax on the side of this is actually pretty close. All right, let's see what we get here. So guys, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't get a cold bore shift with this barrel, and that's kind of why I use this for my hunting rig. We'll hunt squirrels, whatever, with this. It's my small game rifle. No cold bore shift. This is a Green Mountain heavy tapered 17-inch barrel, and this thing shoots. So we ended up with an average of 1059, a standard deviation of 9.3, and an extreme spread of 40. All right, so what we're going to do from here, we're going to go out to a couple hundred yards, and we're going to shoot some various targets. I want to put the this velocity into the Charigun Elite app, and then we'll get our wind and everything entered into it, and we'll see how close the calculations are at 200 yards all the way up to probably 100. So stay tuned. All right guys, you can see we've got a pretty brutal headwind right now. It's actually left to right, target straight that way. It's kind of switching too. It's more of a headwind than anything. Yeah, now it's now that's a pretty good gust. So we've got the numbers put into the Strelok, or not Strelok, actually this is not Strelok, this is Charigun Elite. We've got the numbers punched in, and it says 7.3. Wow, that is cold. So anyhow, we're gonna aim for the center of that 12-inch target down there. Oh wow, that wind is pushing it. It's pushing it a mil right. Wow, look at that. Ah, the wind. So that's what a 12-inch target looks like at 200 yards. I'm going to go in. I'll be back out in a minute. All right, guys, so it's the next day, and here's the target from yesterday. We actually had a pretty good group going here. Now, what a difference a day makes. Now, yesterday it was 26 degrees. We had a wind chill of like 14. And today it's 50 degrees and there's not much wind at all. So hopefully we'll have a lot better experience today. So stand by. All right, guys, so I went through and we re-zeroed the scope. It was so windy yesterday. I wanted to make sure that my zero was still good, and it is off a little bit. We also re-chronographed the ammunition. Really cold yesterday. Like I said, it was about 24 degrees, 25, somewhere in there. And today it's almost 50 degrees. So I wanted to re-chronograph the ammunition so that we put the right data into the Charigun Elite. Now, yesterday we had an average of 1060. Today, with the same exact ammunition, we have an average of 1076. And we're off a little bit on our zero. We're 2/10 off on the windage and about 1/10 off on the elevation. Here's one of the cons to this scope. They have the caps, so these are screw-in caps, so it's toolless adjustment. The problem that we have here is the caps are recessed a little bit, so they're knocked down, and there's hardly any knurling on it to grab a hold of it. Now, I guess one pro to that is these things aren't going to come loose on you, but they're a pain in the ass to get off. So I'll give you a close-up of this, and there's only 10 knurling slots on this cap. They're incredibly hard to get off, and the battery cap is even worse because it's even smaller. And it would probably been better had they made this made the cap a little thicker, because then you would have had more material to grab onto. The cap is incredibly thin, and like I said, there's hardly any knurling on it for you to grab a hold of. I did finally get it that time, but if it's really cold out and you need to adjust that, it's incredibly hard. So that's one thing that I would suggest to Maven that they change. I do like the toolless function. I think all scopes should do this toolless function, but they need to do something a little bit better with that. So guys, this scope does not have a zero stop, so make sure you pay attention to where your zero is at on your little grid on the back of the scope here. So this scope has 12 MRAD of windage and 25 MRAD of vertical adjustment. Now we're up towards the top of the adjustment range of the scope. We have about 8 mils left before we top out. Now with 8 mils, I can still get this rifle out to 200 yards, which honestly for hunting, that's plenty. Now guys, this does have adjustable parallax, so a hunting scope with adjustable parallax is awesome. Now usually when guys hunt with these, they'll set it at 100 yards and set it and forget it. And the scope does have a good depth of field, which means even if you have the parallax set at 100, things at 150 and 200, probably out to about 250, are still going to be relatively in focus with the scope. So it does have a good depth of field, which is a very positive thing on a hunting scope. Now, the numbers on the parallax are fairly accurate. When I got out here to 50 yards, I stuck the number right on 50 on the side parallax, and it was pretty much in focus. But it does have side parallax, and that's a big plus on the scope. Now, the glass. Now, this is Japanese glass as far as I understand, but it's not the same glass that they're using in their top tier models. It's, you know, these scopes are fairly stripped down. Like I said, it does not have a zero stop. That's about the only thing the scope really doesn't have. It does have 11 brightness settings for the illumination, but only the center dot illuminates. And I gotta be completely honest here, the illumination is only visible when you're at the top magnification range. If you have this on, you know, anything under that, you're not going to see it. And even at the top magnification, it's not very bright. Let me show you what that looks like actually. If you put let's put it in a shadow, you can see that's the max illumination, and this is a brand new battery. Now, if you were hunting and you were in a dusk situation, you're definitely going to be able to see that dot so you can make the shot, but it's only the center dot that lights up, so none of your holdovers, you're not going to be able to see any of that unless you're hunting in the snow or something. So the illumination is a little bit lacking, but it is there if you need it. All right, so let's shoot out to 200 yards. We'll shoot a group at 200 yards on those 12-inch shoot and sees, and then we'll kind of float around in the yard. It's a nice day, and we'll shoot at some red steel, so stand by. So what I want to do here now is just validate the information that I put into the Charigun Elite. So I changed the feet per second in the Charigun Elite, and I really don't have any wind figured into it. I'm sure the wind will probably affect us a little bit, but it's very, very light at the moment. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that we're zeroed correctly at 200 yards, and if we're high or low, we're going to correct that in the Charigun Elite, and then we'll have good velocity and zero information from 50 to 200 yards, and that should have the calculations correct in the Charigun Elite for pretty much any yardage I want to shoot at. So let's do that now. We've got to kick this to 7. So there's 5, 6, 7. So 7 mils is what the Charigun Elite is saying we should be zeroed at 200 yards. So, all right, so I have the parallax, side parallax set at 200. And again, these the yardages that are on this are for reference only, but they're pretty dang close. All right, make sure my level is correct. All right, here we go. Guys, although this scope does have a little bit of chromatic aberration at 20 power, this image is nowhere near what it's actually like. This is exaggerated. When you're trying to film through a scope, when you add the extra lenses, it actually amplifies the chromatic aberration, and this image is exaggerated, especially where the posts meet the snow there. You can really see some chromatic aberration, but the actual image when you're looking through the scope is nowhere near this. As a matter of fact, the scope produces very little chromatic aberration, but this is just one of those side effects that when you're trying to film through a scope, you will never produce the type of image that you're actually seeing with your own eye. All right, so we're about half a mil low. And I don't know, probably 3/10 of wind. All right, let's see if we get any closer to that bullseye now. So it looks like 7.3 MRAD is going to be my new dial setting for 200 yards. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the new information into the Charigun Elite app, and then we'll go over, we'll shoot some steel, and I should be good to go to get good, accurate hits from 50 to 200 yards. So it looks like we did pretty decent once we got the zero correct. All right, let's shoot some steel now. All right, guys, so I think I'm about 130 yards away from the target. Let's get a reading and see exactly where we're at. 133. Let's punch that into the Charigun Elite app. All right, guys, so it's saying 3.6 MRAD. So I always like to turn it back to 0 and then start over, especially when there's not a 0 stop. So 3.5, 3.6. All right, let's see what we get here. No problem. Seems like it's pretty well in the center of the plate. Let's try the 4-inch plate too. No problem. Let's move back a little bit and see if we can get some more hits. Yeah. I think that's me. I don't think it's the gun. I think it's my tripod game. Needs a little work. There we go. See if we can hit the really small one. That's a 2-inch. All right. Let's crank it up a little bit. Let's go up to 14 power. One, two, three. Piece of cake. Now, although the glass in this is not up to the standards of their Maven's top of the line scope, it's still really good. So it seems like the dialing is pretty much spot on. It seems to match up with the Charigun Elite really well. So the turret dialing is very good. Now let's talk about the reticle real quick.
The reticle is very interesting, as in it relies on your brain's ability to draw converging lines. So let's say you needed 3 mils of wind on a 3 mil holdover. Your brain can actually draw a line from the 3 mil vertical line to the 3 mil horizontal line and give you a potential holdover. It's not going to be really good for target shooting, but for hunting, it should give you enough information to make a good hit at distance.
This is a good hunting reticle for a center fire. Maybe not the best for a 22 long rifle, but at that point you can dial, so it's really not that big a deal. So let's talk about some pros and cons on this scope. I think if you're going to market this as a target slash hunting model, I think you really need a zero stop. This does not have a zero stop. It definitely needs better illumination, and I would like to see these the caps for the turrets and the illumination where the battery is. I'd like them to be a little larger with more knurling on them. They're really not very big, and they are, especially when your hands get cold, you would have a really hard time getting any of these caps off. So let's talk about some of the pros. Now, it's a very well-built scope. I do like the looks of it too. I do like the contrasting controls being gray and the little bit of orange accents in it. I really think it's a very good looking scope. The turrets are fantastic. They're very tight. They're very positive, very just very precise. The side parallax, the numbers on the side parallax are very true to range. The adjustment on the illumination is very crisp. It doesn't want to jump past it. Once you get into the setting, it stays locked in there very well. All the controls are super smooth. I would kind of compare it to a top tier scope. The feel of the scope is absolutely top tier and fantastic. I like it a lot. The glass is good, plenty good enough for what the scope is intended for. I really like the scope a lot, guys. I think you could do a lot worse at 700 beans. The weight of the scope, I think it's about 22 ounces, so it's not a super heavy. It's not the lightest scope in the world, but for what the scope does, a 4 to 20, putting the scope on a lightweight rifle is not going to add a lot of weight to it at all. It's still a very it still provides for a very lightweight package for hunting. Now guys, Maven is a direct-to-consumer company, so you cannot buy these in stores. You have to buy these online. So they're cutting out the middleman, so you're getting a higher quality scope at a lower cost. But guys, this is a very good product for the price. Do I wish it had just the simplest zero stop in it? Yes. Do I wish the caps were a little bit bigger? Yes. Do I wish the illumination was brighter? Yes. But it does have illumination, and at dusk when you need it, it's going to work for you. This is a very well set up scope for hunting. So all right guys, well that's pretty much all I got for you today. So if you like what you saw, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you like what I'm doing here, go down there and hit that subscribe button. I can't build this channel without you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Attention YouTube manual reviewer. In today's video, I was very careful to comply with all YouTube's firearm policies. Today's video was my opinion. An opinion is not a promotion, just a compilation of facts as I see them. I am not promoting the sale of a firearms accessory. I am just reviewing a product.